So Bruce Lee once said that the basic principle of self-defense is to use the most effective weapon to strike fast and strike the most vulnerable point. So I want you guys to listen to my speech today because hopefully you'll come away feeling like a sense of confidence knowing that if you were ever in a situation where you need to protect yourself, that you would be able to. So I'm going to talk about 3 different types of self-defense techniques. I'm going to talk about one where an opponent is throwing a punch, one with a knife, and one where they're holding you at gunpoint. So for the first one, this is if an attacker is going to throw a punch at you. This is Evan. He's also a martial artist, and he will be the attacker, and I will be the person defending myself. So Ross F. Collins, a 3rd degree black belt, talked about in his 2004 article that if the attacker can't see, they can't attack you. If they can't breathe, they can't attack you. If they can't stand, they can't attack you. So your goal here is to disable them basically so that they can't come after you again, and you can get away. So if an attacker is throwing a punch at you, the first thing that you want to do is get yourself out of the way of the strike, and the next thing that you want to do is block it. So to block, you're going to take your hand and curl your fingers back, and this is so that you don't injure your own hand if you were to miss their arm or something and snap your fingers by accident. You don't want to cause harm to yourself, so you want to keep your fingers tucked back like that. And you're going to try and use the heel of your hand, this is the hardest part of your hand right here, to block. So this is like the first part, block right here. And once you're here, this leaves everything on this side, and including their throat and their face open, so you can go for their throat or their nose or their eyes. And ladies, if you have long nails, you can actually claw them with your nails, that's effective. Or you could even go in with the knee if you need to, and then you just escape this way. Now this works also left, of course, and this is a starting one. So obviously, if they're coming at you, you can react quickly. A lot of times people will step before they punch or something, so you want to maybe look for those things. If a situation is becoming tense, you want to just be ready for anything. So for the second technique, this is if an attacker is holding a knife, and this is reverse grip, and this is with the blade facing outwards like this. This is meant for slashing back and forth, which a lot of times is used because it's effective, right? So if an attacker is holding a knife in reverse grip like this, the first thing that they're going to try and do is cut you this way because they're just throwing their arm. So what they're going to try and do is probably get you in the throat or get you across the abdomen. You don't want that to happen, so the first thing that you're going to do, just like with the first technique, is you're going to get yourself out of the way. So you're going to just back up. You want to be out of the way of the blade for the first time that they swing. And obviously, now that they've missed you, they're going to try and come back this way because it's the fastest that they can do. And you don't want to try and run. You don't want to try and turn away because they're still coming at you with a knife and they can still chase after you and have the weapon. So the next thing that you're going to do is actually get so close that they can't get you with the knife the other direction. You're going to block with your forearms. So once you're here, this is if, and basically you're using their forward momentum. Back up a little bit. My bad. You're going to use their forward momentum to basically just push down. You're going to take your arm and you're just going to turn it a little bit. You're going to grab onto their arm right here and you're literally just going to turn your foot and push down with your arm. It's going to take them straight to the ground. And once they're here, you have the ability to take the knife, strike them, and run away so that they don't have the weapon and you can escape. So this is all the way through for this one. And that is the second technique. So for the third technique, and this is moving up the scale a bit, this is if they're holding you at gunpoint. So this is, again, a piece of wood. It's not a real gun, of course. So if they're holding you at gunpoint, and this technique only works at close range, because you have to be close enough to be able to grab onto the gun and get yourself excuse me, out of the way of the, if they were going to shoot you, obviously. So the first thing that you're going to do, like with all the other ones, the first thing that you always want to do is get yourself out of the way and then react. So you're going to duck out of the way, and you're going to grab onto their hand and the muzzle of the gun and point the gun straight in the air. So even if they do try to shoot you, it'll just go off into the air and you'll be safe. So Economist chart 2013 actually said that the chances of being fatally wounded in a gun assault is actually 1 in 2,500. And if you know this, it actually will, of course, up your chances of not getting harmed. So duck out of the way and you're going to grab on, right? and you're going to point straight up. Now this is the first part all together, and then the next thing that you're going to do, because you have hold of their hand here, what you're going to do is just take your thumb and you're just going to push this direction. So one of two things is going to happen because you're going very fast, is either their wrist is going to snap or their entire body is just going to follow because the wrist doesn't turn this direction. So all together, strike, take the weapon, and get away. That's what you want to do, very, very fast. Take advantage of if they're talking, if they're trying to yell at you or something, you want to try and stay focused and react as quickly as you can. So these are all three of the techniques. You've seen an attacker who's throwing a punch at you, you've seen an attacker with a knife, and you've seen an attacker who's holding you at gunpoint. So hopefully you can come away with this feeling a bit more confident, knowing that if you were in a situation where you needed to protect yourself, that you'd be able to react and not freeze up and not be in harm's way. Bruce Lee once said that the basic principle of self-defense is to use the most effective weapon to strike fast and strike the most vulnerable point. Thank you.